Now, that's right. All right, we're live. So, gigantic beings of Doddridge County, West Virginia. A vanished race. Was there really a race of giants that were unearthed, the skeletal remains in West Virginia, in these great big massive mounds? And were there other mounds found in other states that contain the skeletons of other gigantic beings? Were they purposely suppressed from, history, so that we wouldn't know nothing about it unless we literally went digging for the truth, looking for the history in certain areas? That's 7.5 feet tall. You can see by the depiction of the man in that particular photo how, the normal average height of a man is not 7.5 feet tall. We consider somebody 6 foot or 6'2" tall, but could you imagine a whole nother foot? Where did these giant beings come from? Now, there are references to older giants than this, taller people, and they were like 10 feet, 15 feet. Some records back in ancient history, you could have them as 20 to 30 feet tall. Big time giants, gigantic giants of old. So is this real? Okay, and if so, why don't we know more about it? Why don't we? And is it true that the Smithsonian, when they found out, when people started discovering all these great big giant bones in lots of states and areas, that they came and they gathered the bones and then they ended up dumping them in the ocean, the remains of the giants? Why would you do that? Really, why would you? Why would you, say they didn't exist? And like the pictures where you see great big skeletons unearthed and their heads are like humongous, and compared to the people next to them, why would you say it's all fake? Why would it be fake, really? Because somebody said it's fake? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think there's so much more to the history than to every country than what we've been told. I think that the mythology, the legends, all of it, the tales, they're true. They're not myths. They're not tales. They're not make-believes. And the stories that were passed down verbally from generation to generation, I'm sure there's a whole lot of truth in them. I sure am sure of it. So is a lot of other people. There's too much stuff out there scattered all about to not be true. So let me come over here. Yeah, we're going to get right down to it. I just want to talk about it a little bit, just a tad bit, because I really I had heard once about the giants of old in certain states. Hello there, Susan B. Honey. In certain areas, but I didn't hear it until this year. That's it, this year. Maybe last year, even along the banks of the Ohio River. I think there was history about an ancient race of red-headed beings, and they were very tall. Their skeleton remains and stuff all along the banks from long time ago, like Vikings or something like that, you all. So let me close this down. Let me come over here, you all. We're going to look at something different. Yes, we are. Thank you very much. I'm going to tell you how we got here. First, I got to get my stuff up and going. I got to open me up a new little sticky note right here, but I want to make the sticky note a tad bit bigger. I got to be careful to stretch it. I want to stretch that sticky note. How am I going to stretch it? Okay, we can stretch it like this, and then it's really tricky, you all. If you ever go try to stretch a sticky note, it's kind of tricky. What happened is I got to thinking about the Great Divide. The Great Continental Divide is what I got to thinking about. Since we talked about the Great Continental Divide that was near the Wolf Creek Pass, the FAA weather cam. Yeah, that right there. So I got to thinking about that. What is the Continental Divide? And I thought, is there something more to that too? So we're going to go on a trip, you all. Yes, we are. Moundsville, West Virginia's got it too. So this is the first place I went to, this Continental Divide of the Americas. Let's look into that, you all. Let's check this out. I don't have to open up a thing. Oh, the Continental Divide of the Americas is the principal and largely mountainous hydrological divide of the Americas. The Continental Divide extends from the Bering Strait to the Strait of Magellan. Okay, I've heard of that, Magellan. And separates the watersheds that drain into the Pacific Ocean from those river systems that drain into the Atlantic and Arctic Oceans. So that even looks different. Does that look different than the New Madrid? That one thing that guy, Dutch Sense, shows? Isn't there like the old plate or something that he draws out, the old tectonic plates? But this is like the Continental Divide. I think I read somewhere where it used to be like one continent, or a continent had split or something. Also, you all, I'm not sure, but that's where I had went right there. And then I kind of got over here on this right here. I did. About the Axis Mundi, sacred sites where heaven meets earth. I'm going to take you from the very beginning, you all, how I got to the giants of West Virginia. We can do it. Watch the water. Oopsie daisy. You all, watch the water. You all, we're going to look at this. I know I've seen nothing of this before. I'm going to document it again. We're going to do some references, you all. I hope this is okay. Something different with some actual references to it, you all. So the Axis Mundi, sacred sites where heaven meets earth. And look, you got these root systems. You got this tree. This is from 2018. What do Mount Fuji in Japanese culture, the Dome of the Rock on the Temple Mount, Mecca in Islam, and the Black Hills for the Sioux all have in common? They are all examples of a belief in the Axis Mundi, a perceived center of the world where heaven and earth are connected. This concept is also known by other names, including the world tree, the world pillar, and the cosmic axis. Have you all heard of that before? The where heaven and earth meet? I've never heard of this before until, this evening right here. Ancient times, many cultures have held the view of their homeland as the center of the world, as it was the center of their known universe. Well, that makes sense, the center of their known universe. The best example is to illustrate this belief, that of the Chinese civilization. In the Chinese language, China is known as the Middle Kingdom. In similar manner, the ancient Egyptians perceived their land as the center of the world, which was ruled by order, whilst chaos reigned in the lands beyond their borders. So look at this right here. We have this, looks like an ancient map from the Middle Ages, which placed Jerusalem at the center of the earth. So we got Jerusalem, we got Africa, we got Asia, and Europa. Is that like that flower thing, you all? You know the flower I'm talking about? Is it not like the cosmic flower or something like that? What is that flower? Lotus flower? No, that's something different, you all. I thought there was some kind of a flower thing. Okay, so where heaven and earth meet. So this is where I got right here. They meant it's symbolically rising to the sky. All the humans of Lodger were killed due to more oxygen from ancient trees that we destroyed. Oh, wow. Daleen Ross. That's a really good thought right there. I think all humans were larger due to more oxygen from ancient trees that were destroyed. Wow, that's pretty good. So the Peach Festival of the Queen of the Mother of the West, Chinese Ming Dynasty painting from the earliest 17th century. Then we got Mount Olympus, Mount Meru in India, Mount Kailash in Tibet, Mundi, Greeks, Delphi, You have all of these things right here, creating ways to diminish the distance. And we've got, what do we got right here, you all? We got the ziggurat at Ali Air Base in Iraq, you all, the ziggurat. And they kind of reached up high. And then you got Norse mythology. The axis may exist. This is an illustration in shamanistic belief that the axis mundi is perceived to be a sort of a pathway that allows a shaman to travel across time and space. This form of travel allows a shaman to heal, obtain wisdom from the other realms, and retrieve soul pieces. The Yggdrasil, the immense mythical tree that connects the 9 worlds in Norse mythology. Did you ever hear about 9 worlds? I've never heard about 9 worlds. Wait a minute. 9 rings to rule them all. Remember that one? 9 rings. Now we're talking about 9 worlds, 9 planets, right? 9 planets. There's 9 life path numbers, but then there's 3 other ones that are master numbers. 9 is life cycles. Don't they go from like 1 to 9 in life cycles also? 9 levels of consciousness. Okay, what else do we have? What about that chakra? What about the chakra? Okay, look at this. Finally, in some belief systems, we are, as humans, are perceived to be the axis mundi, as we are situated between heaven and earth. That's right, the Lord of the Rings. According to the chakra system in Hinduism, Buddhism, the body is treated as a pole or a pillar between heaven and earth. Oh, there's 12 chakras. Okay, well, that's good. 12 chakras, and the 12 days of Chris. Oh, on the 12 days, I don't know what that is. Maybe that's something else. The ideal of the human body, and Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man, as well as the practices of yoga and Tai Chi. Stupas with the north face of Mount Kailash in the background. Both are symbols of axis mundi. You all look at that. Look like great big giant chess pieces. Okay, so we got that. So this is where I went. 9 chakras, 12. Okay, so I went there, you all. And then I ended up, I thought I seen something up there moving. Okay, maybe I didn't. I ended up over here. The Adena Axis Mundi, or Mundi. This is 2017. Oh, you all? Am I writing this stuff down? I got to make sure I copy and reference this so you all can go back and look at it. 12 chakras. Okay, so we've got the Adena Axis Mundi and large skeletal remains traveling to the realm of the dead at Grave Creek Mound. I don't even know where Grave Creek Mound is located. Do you all? The large Grave Creek Mound proved to be an irresistible attraction to early antiquarians and curiosity seekers. In 1823, John Haywood mentioned the impressive mound of a conical form, 75 feet tall. In the interior of the mound, human bones were found of uncommonly large size, you all. After the excavations of a collapse in the mound, you can see a mound right here. He says 2 or perhaps 3 additional vaults have been discovered located about midway between the upper and lower chambers. These new vaults appear to occupy positions outside the shaft made by Messrs. Tomlinson and Biggs. In addition to the discovery, one or more skeletons have been found on the remains of what might properly be called an altar or a fireplace. You all, where's this Grave Creek Mound located? Because I didn't find out this right here at all. Do I have to type it in, Grave Creek Mound? Because West Virginia. Oh, did you know that? Oh, is this where we were just now? Grave Creek Mound. Oh my gosh, you all. Okay, and you know it's located in West Virginia, don't you? Okay, Grave Creek Mound. Oh, the Ohio River Valley in West Virginia is one of the largest conical type burial mounds in the United States, now standing 62 feet high and 240 feet in diameter. The builders of the site, members of the Adena culture, moved more than 60,000 tons of dirt to create it about 250 to 150 BC. Present-day Moundsville has developed all around it near the banks of the Ohio River. That's right, Serpent Mound in Ohio. So who are the Adena culture? Who are the Adena cultures? Do you all know that? Let's open up some more tabs. Adena culture. Let's open it up. Put this right here, you all. Let me copy this because we want to do it right. We want to follow the rules and properly do our the Adena culture was a pre-Columbian Native American culture that existed from 500 BCE. I've never heard of the BCE to 100 CE in a time known as the early woodland period. The Adena culture refers to what were probably a number of related Native American societies sharing a burial complex and ceremonial system. Oh, wow, you all, that is really neat. So this is the Ohio River. So why was we only taught that Christopher Columbus discovered America? Where was all this stuff when we went to school? Where was it? I think we should have been hearing about this. We really should have. That's right. Yeah. So you're not coming on here hijacking. Boom, you're gone. We're talking about archaeology. We're not talking about police. So next. So look at this. The Adena culture refers to what was probably a number of related Native American societies. Wow, the early woodland period. Ohio's history central. Archaeological. Agendas of the elite. That's right, Michelle, honey. It encompasses similarities in artifact style, architectural, distinguished the Adena culture from earlier and later cultures of the region. Significant features. I wonder what they... Oh, look, there's legends of them. 1 AD. From the years of about 1000 BC to about 1 AD, the people were a group of well-organized societies that lived in parts of present-day Ohio, Indiana, Wisconsin, West Virginia, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and New York. The Adena people were not a single tribe, but rather a group of indigenous people that shared. You all, this is now just think of, for all of you all who have done, some genealogy, you look back at those things. They say have nothing to do with genealogies and whatever, who have looked back at the census records, and you have noticed that your family members from centuries back, they came from these states right here. They did. And they may say mulatto on them. They may. They just may. This is really interesting, you all. Oh, look at this. Adena health system, compassion, excellence, integrity. So can we look in this, you all? Were these giants? No, I remember seeing this in the things, you all. Remember going to the museums and seeing things like this, you all. So you think these were giant Indians? Well, they could have been. I know on my mom's side of the family, she's got some really, really tall people. You got some tall people on your side of the family too. We're talking over 6 feet tall, some maybe 6'4" or something like that, you all. Really? Because if you look at some of the family photos of people from centuries back or decades back, they seem to be taller. Yeah. So from the years, look at them. So this is what they did. The peaceful living, you all. They were, there's the big mound right here. Grave Creek Mound, Moundsville, West Virginia, 20 to 30 feet high. And what happened? Over time, what happened to these? They got flat. So look, they had clan leaders. They had healers, shamans, and their bodies were buried in a variety of artifacts such as bone and flint tools, beads, jewelry, pipe, mica, copper ornaments, and these included both men and women of all ages. Well, what about the cave people, you all? All we ever heard about in school is the cavemen. That's it. I didn't even hear about the cave women. We just heard about the cavemen. Well, these people don't look like cavemen. They look like they were very civilized, and they were able to do things like this, you all. They really do. You have Choctaw and Chickasaw. That's right. 7 feet. That's right. Yes, you got a child close to 7 feet tall, 6'10". Okay, so oh, look at this. Ritual mounds. The Ohio governor, Chilhooty. Look at this. Adena stone tablet. See, what they did is they didn't want us to know the history. They didn't. Why are we allowed to see it now? See, that's the question. Why are we allowed to see it now? This is like ancient. This is really ancient. Wow. Look at that. Adena stone pipe. Native American archaeological periods right here. How many of you have went to caves when you were little? You found a cave out in the woods and you went and you looked outside the cave and you saw these little beads like that. They were beads that were like, those candy necklaces that had the rope and they had the little twirly candies on them and you could eat them. Well, I remember across from the projects when I lived in Charlestown, the housing, there was a pasture, and there were woods behind the pasture, and there was a cave. And I remember going to that cave, and it was red dirt. And the red dirt, I would move the dirt around, and there was little bitty beads like that, and they had holes in them, and some of them had rings around the beads, and some of them were like, I don't know, around a half an inch long, and some were shorter. And I thought, I'm going to save them. And I saved them, and I lost them as I got older. And I thought, this could be a necklace. That's what I thought. These could be necklaces because they had a perfect hole in them. How many of you all have done that too? You found them like that, you all. So this is what we've learned about the Adena culture. I'm going to just make sure it's adenacultureamerica.com. Okay, we got it. So I can click out of this one, you all. So we looked into that, the Adena culture, Ohio. Okay, so we've done that. We've done the Grave Creek Mound. We found that that's in Ohio River Valley, West Virginia. We did the Axis Mundi. I did the Great Continental Divide. Gina, you better watch out. You're going to click out of stuff. This is where we were. There were shafts made by the Messrs. Tomlin and Biggs. Who was buried in there, you all? 13 samples, core drilling. Charcoal was obtained from there, and it was used to generate a radiocarbon. Secondary mantle of mound analysis building. The entire structure was essentially continuous. You all look at that. It has been suggested that the ornamented male burial from the lower tomb sounds like the pyramids. What if they really wore pyramids like that, and then over time soil erosion and stuff like that just made them look like boom. Maybe they knocked the tops off of the pyramids and made them just look like big hills. So this is what they kind of look like. A human effigy pipe made of a hard, compact black stone with holes. Adena. The world tree sacred mountain is considered the Axis Mundi. The vicinity of which souls or dead spirits and the priests could travel between. The vicinity of Grave Creek Mound may have been set aside as an access point to the realm of the dead. So Grave Creek Mound, an access point to the realm of the dead. Do you all think that there are lots of access points? Didn't somebody say something in here about the mound and the energy where the mounds were? I think I just seen something on here. Um, let's see. Somebody said mounds were energy centers or something like that. Okay, yeah, Michael Macero, Serpent Mounds. We're going to get to the Serpent Mounds. We are, you are. So this is a realm of the dead, the burial or a powerful shaman and stuff. Look at that. Grave Creek Mound may have been set aside as an access point. Skeletons were not what they seemed. They measured overstretched, maybe 6 feet and stuff. They had larger skeletons and stuff like that, you all. Look, there's some heads of skeleton heads, deteriorated conditions. Okay, this is what I clicked into, you all. Let me get to the Dodge Ridge right there. This is where I was right here. Let me click this in. We're going to get to the Serpent Mound after, I think, this. We'll go there because I haven't been there, and I wanted to go to the Serpent Mounds of Ohio. I've got to watch where if I got to click somewhere because I want to get rid of that. So this article contains reference to an anonymous source, although we have a rule of not using anonymous sources in our published work. We have made an exception in this case since we feel the possibilities yielded by this investigation could be of some importance. See, they know, even though this person is anonymous, this is January of 2022, they have allowed this as an exception of Dodd Ridge County, West Virginia. In the summer of 1930, a series of newspaper articles appeared describing a most sensational discovery, a race of gigantic beings. Let's look at this, you all. The Adena. Okay, I think we've... A race of gigantic beings. Ooh. Look at that. 2015. Right here. And they've got a headdress. They're not skin and bones. They got some meat on their body, muscles. 1800 reports began to surface of the discovery of a very large skeletal remain in the burial mounds of North America. These skeletons were described as reaching 7 to 8 feet in length, with a lower frequency of discovery, oh my gosh, spanning 9 to 11 feet in length, you all. 9 to 11 feet. Tall. Ooh. Wow, 9 to 11 feet tall, you all. Could you imagine? That would be twice my height, more or less. It would be double my height. It'd probably be double your height too, you all. The giants came through, the fallen angels. Well, let's see. It was a mound. Oh, no, this is talking about a mound. This is Cass County, Michigan. Okay, Cass County, Michigan. They had very large skulls and gigantic lower jaw bones. Historians often detailed these remains in early local historical records, such as the following from Cass County, Michigan. It was a mound about 13 feet high. The diameter of its base was about 50 feet. Portions of the skeletons were in good state of preservation. The femur or thigh bone of one of the males, which Dr. Bonine has now in his possession, is of great size and indicates that its owner must have been at least 7 feet in height. So Alfred Matthews, History of Cass County, Michigan in 1882, right here. The Creel Mound, right here, the Creel Mound in South Charleston, West Virginia. Photo courtesy. Okay, you can see right here. So this is South Charleston, West Virginia. Accounts of exceptional burial mounds. Antiquarians also wrote about the anthropology of the tall ones in prehistoric mounds. The following is an account from Chillicothe, Illinois, from the American Antiquarium, Volume 2. Let's get to that, you all. So we're looking at these giants that are found in North America and the United States specifically. A recent exploration of a mound near this place resulted in some interesting discoveries. The form was large and the jaws massive and the teeth were perfect. Perfect teeth. Well, there's a lot of us who'd like to have some perfect teeth. I mean, we wouldn't want to have massive jaws, but we like to have some perfect teeth. Some people would. Okay. As is well known, 19th and early 20th century newspapers frequently ran stories of gigantic skeletons found throughout the country. Why did they stop? I know why they stopped. Someone said that around the early, maybe 1910, 20, something like that, there was some kind of an event that took place that kind of set humanity back a little bit, some kind of cataclysm, like mild cataclysms and stuff, like a reset during that time. Okay, so the following report from Portsmouth, Ohio, was run by the News Herald on January the 3rd, 1895. Bridge carpenters on the North and West RR found a gigantic skeleton while excavating 3 miles east of Portsmouth a few days ago. The skeleton measured 7 feet 4 inches. That's right, there are giants, Pamela Hunter, 50 feet tall or more. I did do a video on that before on this YouTube channel. I don't know if you have access to it. I don't even know if I stuck it in a playlist. I was using myself as an explanation of how tall that would be, and I had like a measuring thing right next to me. Okay, let's look at this. In 1880s, the Eastern Mound Division of the Smithsonian Institute, discovered a number of gigantic skeletons in their wanton destruction of North American tumuli. Did they have a wanton destruction, the Smithsonian, of the North American tumuli? What's that mean? The North American tumuli. Let's see that, you all. North American tumuli. Okay, tumulus, a mound of dirt. A mound of earth. Okay, look at this. Oh, so we got this, you all. Look at this. On the population and the tumuli of the Aborigines of North America. Read reviews from the world's largest community of readers, you all. Right there, 1814, the Aborigines of North America. So, this is the images. There's the Serpent Mound, the North American thing. They knew all about it. The Smithsonian was probably created to do what they did, their wanton destruction. So we want to copy this, since we did a search on this, you all, and put that there because I didn't know what a tumuli or a tumuli is. Let's look at this. The wanton destruction. Let's look at this. Oh. So look at this, you all. We got this. We've got this. I would hope that this is Ephraim's America, a multitude of nations. Where is this stuff at, you all? Do you think this is in the United States? Look, it's like a big spider. Miamisburg. Oh my gosh. Does that mean like Miamisburg? Is that like, oh, well, I think there's Aborigines all over the place. Look, the Cahokia, the Michael Heights effigy. This is a landscape of ancient, whatever this is. Oh my gosh. Ancient long barrels, a pin museum. This looks France. Okay, France. So we got some stuff right here. So this is kind of what they mean. It's Old Ireland has a creepy. So it's all over the world, you all. These mounds are found all over the world. Look at this necropolis right here, all over the world, you all. Why haven't we been told this? They just don't want us to know that, hey, you know those great big hills, all these places with these great big hills, underneath there, they actually were great big gigantic mounds, and there were other races of beings. Look at these heads right here. Turkey, Mount Nimrut. Right there, look, they knocked the heads off the statues right there that they built, and all of that, you all. Look at this. Tribal nations, our own names and location, you all. This you might want to, if you, I don't know what that's written in, but this looks like it's in the United States, and it has different types of names of tribes. So you'll want to go to this right here, and this right here, images. Let me make sure I put the images in this link, because there has some nice pictures in here that you might want to click on the links to read a little bit more in depth about this right here. But we're going to get back to the, what were we on? Was on the Grave Creek Mound. Was talking about the Ronton destruction. Okay, yeah, the Ronton destruction of North America. The 12th annual report of the Bureau of Ethnology documents numerous gigantic skeleton found by the Smithsonian agents, you all. They were Smithsonian agents. Near the original surface of the mound, lying at full length upon its back, was one of the largest skeletons discovered by the Bureau agents. The length, as proved by actual measurements, between 7 and 8 feet. In the center of the mound, 3 feet below the surface, was a vault 8 feet long and 3 feet wide. In the bottom of this lay a skeleton fully 7 feet long. The length from the base of the skull to the bones was found to be 7 feet 3 inches. In the bottom of this lay a skeleton 7 feet long. Okay. Probably, therefore, the individual was 7.5 feet high. The last of the kings. I think there was a biblical account. What was it? The last of these gigantic kings. It was he had a bed. I think his bed was like 15 feet long. Who am I talking about, you all? In the Old Testament biblical account, it was the last of this his race of giants. King Og, was it King? No, it wasn't King Og. Somebody. Oh, okay. Thank you, Johanna Maynard. I got it right. King Og. Okay, that's right. And you know, we got that story about Jack and the Frost Giant. Jack and the whoever, something in the Frost Giants. I don't know. Remember what that exactly was. But let's look at this. So this is the Adeno Mound in Ohio, and extraordinary. Oh, well, some extraordinary skeletal features. 20th century saw the rediscovery of the ancient giants by mainstream archaeologists. Working with Charles Snow, William S. Webb of the University of Kentucky, that's near me, positively identified unique skeletal features noted by the early sources with the people of the Adena Mound building culture. Webb and Snow's analysis of the anthropology of Adena was described in the Adena People number 1945 and number 2, co-written in Raymond S. Baby 1957, you all. The forehead, you all. This is, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about these giants that are found in North America. We're talking specifically about United States. The forehead is typically a prominent one, bordered below by fairly prominent brow ridges, the characteristic bulge of the upper and lower jaws, the alveolar prognathism is moderate in projection. Usually the cheekbones are not only of large size in themselves, but they have a forward and lateral prominence. In addition to the strong features, they remarked upon the great width of the bony chin formed by bilateral eminences. The typical Adena crania, which is your, were extremely high vaulted. That means it was like that, right? They had a big cone-like head. Is that what he said? It's high vaulted. The Adena crania was extremely high vaulted. Let's a brachiocephalic. Let's look at a brachiocephalic cranium. Brachiocephalic cranium. Cranium. I spelt it wrong. That's okay, you all. We can look at it anyway. So let's look at this Well, it doesn't. Okay, this is not that long. Well, this is kind of like one right here. Brachiocephaly. So that's what they're trying to say. It was kind of long. I don't know which shape it could have been. I don't. Okay, so let me, Gina, you had to click into that. Now you got to write it on here because I clicked into it. And no, I'm not writing a book. I'm documenting. So let's get back to this. So they had, okay, approximately 89% of the adult males, 92% of the adult females are brachycephalic. You know the shape, T-Hammer? In their report on the Dover Mound in Kentucky, Webb and Snow noted the Adena crania to represent the highest skull vaults reported anywhere in the world. Wow. Their cephalic indices measured for Adena range from 89 to 100. They practice artificial flattening of the occipital region, which added height to the cranial vault. Somebody said the aliens on here. I know I've seen the word aliens. YouTube bought me here. The pandentic joker. Okay, Santana, Montana. They must be aliens. They practice merely enhanced congenital features. That's like some of the tribes in Africa do. Those skulls with slight or no deformation, undeformed, present similar proportions. It is likely that many, if not most, of the skull characteristics so typical of Adena are of genetic nature. Genetic nature, you all. That could be aliens, could it not? The Nephilim. Oh, wow. I want to make sure I've got this on here, you all. Let me make sure I've got this right here specifically. Okay, I got a 486. Okay, a 00486. Unexplained phenomena, giant revealed. Okay, we already got it in here, so I'm not going to put it in here again. Goliath was black. Broad level plain. Okay, this is the ancient Athens of Ohio. Look at that. Athens, Ohio. Athens, South Ohio. Okay, 2,000 something of an inch. The Wolf Plains group. Oh, okay. Late Adena group of 30 earthworks include 22 conical mounds and 9 circular enclosures of northwest Athens, Ohio, you all. All right. Beings of large proportions. The land of the giants. So at the Dover Mound, Webb encountered a 7-foot tall skeleton with these notable Adena features. The remains of burial 40 is one of the largest known to Adena. The skull foot field measurement is 84 inches, 7 feet. In 1958, Don Dragoo of the Carnegie Museum uncovered the remains of an individual of large proportions in a subsurface tomb at the Lewis Strata of the Serpent Mound in West Virginia, built burial 54, Dragoo in Mounds for the Dead. When measured in the tomb, his length was approximately 7 feet. All the long bones were heavy, and they possessed marked eminences for the attachment of the muscles. The unique characteristics, protruding and massive chin. So does that mean their chin like stuck out like that, you all? With prominent bilateral protrusions, as well as individuals approaching that. The aliens, okay. So not only were these Adena people tall, but also the massiveness of the bones indicates powerfully built individuals. The head was generally big with a large cranial capacity. If their head was big and they had a large cranial capacity, would that mean that they were big thinkers also? They were super, super intelligent, or they just had a lot of space that filled their heads? Big-headed. Working in the 20th century. Okay, let's see this. Tradition of Giants, Dimensions of the Giants, May 2015. Artists fill in the gaps of the hidden history. Yeah, that's right. You see, they admitted there was hidden history. Protruding lower jaws. Okay, so look at this. We got to get a picture of it, you all. Deformed as they are, these crania display a pronounced brachycrany, and it may be noticed that the four skulls, they noticed that four skulls displaying submedium deformation also give an average cranial index of over 90%. Thus, the inference is that these people would have shown pronounced brachycrany even without deformation. Right here. It's an artist representation of the North American giant. So if we just took off the head at the top, you all, just took off part of his head, the rest of him looks human. Totally human, because, you know, men have muscles up there on their necks and stuff like that. They do. Genetic. It was there. Giant brain, psychic. The dimension of the Adena giant, Gina, let's put this here, was derived from several sources with corroborating details. Among these, the authors referenced handwritten field notes of Norris, the agent of the Bureau of Ethnology, who excavated the Adena Mounds in Charlestown, West Virginia in 1883. Smithsonian manuscript, Norris Mounds excavations, Charleston yielded skeletons, 7 feet meters. So they got all this stuff. Some mounds reached 10 feet at the rigid top. The structure was gigantic and prominent personage surrounded by 5 of his volunteer warriors. They had volunteer warriors, you all. Norris measured the central burial situ and described it as a gigantic human skeleton of 7 feet 6 inches, 19 inches between the shoulders, you all. Wow. Elsewhere in the manuscript, they're regularly referred to as the giant or gigantic, significantly peculiar burial wrapped in bark covered with a dry clay. It suggests that it would have been accurate rather than product of some type of disarticulation due to the weight of the mound. So let's see some more. 6 feet above these remains were found partial skeletons of a man, almost a giant in size. The breadth across his shoulders and bones were correctly placed, 19 inches. So they, it's what they look like. This one had a big head. And I don't know if the other one's heads were that big. But this is our regular human heads. The data was used by Marcia to formulate the likely dimensions and appearance of an 8-foot tall Adena in the flesh. Right here. That's what they look like in the flesh. Prehistoric mound builders. Who you think they were? Well, we ain't talking about no girl giants. I don't know why. Well, there was something about the women giants. There was. In one of these things, missing history comes to life. It represents a truly unique form of humankind, which until now has been only suggested by the multitude of newspaper and historical accounts. So they have a very large number of honored dead, provides a glimpse into the distant past. They published a book in 2016 that will feature an extensive set of Marcia's recreations of Adena and Adena-like individuals from burial mounds. A presentation of 7,000 years of obfuscated world history. So what is obfuscated world history? Somebody tell me what obfuscated means. I've heard of it before. It's kind of a big word to pronounce. Obfuscated. Obfuscated. I know we got somebody who knows the definition of it. On here, 7,000 years of hidden. Okay, thank you. Hidden history, you all. 7,000 years. Well, then how can that be if the earth is only 6,000 years old, as according to biblical accounts? Something's not adding up, you all. Something is not adding up, and this is a giant man. Somewhere in here there were females. Somewhere it was talking about a female. Let's see which one had the females in it. Because there's the 9 worlds of Norse mythology. It wasn't that one. Maybe it was this one, Mysterious Bones, investigating the megalithic. Well, now we got the Foundation of Stone, Part 2, investigating the megaliths of West Virginia and the connection of the Pleiades. The Pleiades, you all. Oh my gosh, the Pleiades. What does that have to do with the Pleiades? Let's see we'll click into the women and see what the women look like, you all. We got to find out what the women would look like, because we want women. The men want to see what the women look like, and the women want to see what the men look like, but the women want to see what the women look like too. So we've talked about the men. Let's see what their women look like. So a portrait of an Adena female and women in Adena society from the Ohio River Valley, 1400 and 800 BC. Persisted until around 300 AD, raised earthen mounds 70 feet high, flint and shell objects, West Virginia, Charleston Mound group in West Virginia. You are literally like they bulldozed it over. 2015, here's Marcia K. Moore. She was working on the project to reveal the living image of the Adena people. She selected a good many photographs of several intact Adena crania in order to provide a tangible physical foundation point for the recreation. She then chose which skulls among the photographs she wished to recreate for the build of the body of the male. References, measurements, tomb 7 to 8 feet. Publicly, 2015. It was picked up and ran by the National Geographic in Poland. Well, why did they only run it in Poland? The first publicly available image of the Adena male was released in 2015 and was picked up and ran by National Geographic in Poland. Why not the National Geographic in the United States or in North America? Isn't that something? So these were the men. Right here, I want to know where the women are. Oh, here comes the female. The stunning image. Ohio River Valley. They possess massive prognathic jaws, pronounced brow ridges, highest vaults, bones. Let's see what the woman looks like. Well, she looks like a warrior. That's what she looked like, a warrior woman. Oh, look, it's on her. Did you think they had this on there too, you all, right here? The Adena female, right here. So let's look at that, you all. You can see what she looked like. She had hazel eyes. Cher, kind of like Cher. That's right. The Adena Society of Influential Females. Modern archaeology considers society to have been heterarchical. I want to say heterarchical in nature. In societies, leadership positions activate when needed, but supposedly do not ascribe lasting power to the person or persons chosen to bear the status roles. However, research in some regions of Ohio have suggested that at least some of the Adena polites were molded upon inherited generational elitism. Elites. So such evidence can be found at the McKees Rock Mound in Stowe Township, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania. And the mound was between 16 and 17 feet high. So Allegheny County, in Pennsylvania. That's what look at that. Picture of the rocks, McKees Rock, Pennsylvania, where at the end of the hill contains the mound. The mound. You wouldn't even know it if you looked at it because they hid it. The first thing the early settlers saw of the area when they traveled up the Ohio River. Right here, copper sheath, bear canine. So they were very intelligent. Look, they got some arrowheads and stuff like that. Gorgets and points from the Adena culture found at the Serpent Mound. We're going to try to get to the Serpent Mound website, the Serpent Mound site. Women in high social rows in the Hocking Valley of Ohio. If you're just tuning in, you are hidden plain sight as a hill. That's right. Look, Wolf's Plain near Athens, Ohio in the 80s revealed a central pit tomb containing the remains of two individuals. One of these was an extended burial of a 16 to 23-year-old female. The bones were stained with red ochre and surrounded by 4 strands of copper beads, have been originally sewn into a garment or cloak. In the pit, there was another cremated adult female placed 2 deliberately damaged copper breastplates for cremation, 27 bone beads, a worked eagle beak copper shell beads have been attached to a leather garment. Suggests, I believe, that she was Adena and Hopewell shamans using smoking pipes to consume hallucinogenic substances, facilitating communion with dead ancestors or spirit beings. Possible ritual garments and stuff like that, you all. So again, you can see right here, y'all, this is really interesting. With the average height of the Adena female was 5 feet. Wait a minute, this. Different types of prestigious female burials follow from a first-hand account in Charleston, West Virginia in 1800s. Bottom of the mounts, a woman. Copper bands around the ankles and the wrists, larger pieces of copper on each breast. The average height of the Adena females were 5 feet 2 inches. Well, that's about my height. If that's about your all's height too, you all, we're about the average height of the Adena females. Are we not? If you are around 5 foot 1.5 or 5 foot 2 or 3, you're about the average height of the Adena female. The remains that have been discovered in the exhibit the same extraordinary height and build for many of the males. The following is Wolf's of the Ohio map of Wolf Plains, Ohio. That's right, you all. So you can see this right here. That's really interesting. The Ages of the Giant, a book that was to be published in 2017. Marcia Adena's reconstruction provide visual representation of ancient people who have fascinated researchers since the early days of early American antiquarians. She created a gallery. Learn more about her artwork right there. You can click into that. The Age of Giants. You all, so we found out about the females. Isn't that wonderful, you all? What was this? There was something in here that had pointed to... it said the Pleiades. Somewhere in here we read about the Pleiades. I know I've seen it. Did you all see it? The Pleiades. If you're all just tuning in, we somehow clicked out of one thing, and it was talking about these ancient giants, and the Pleiades is what it was. And I'm trying to see where that was at. The large remains of the dead. Let me see if we can find it. I shouldn't have went through it. Because I wanted to see if it was connected to the Pleiades. Okay, let's look. Investigating the megaliths of West Virginia and the connection to the Pleiades. Wait, let's look at the Serpent Mound really fast, you all. Let's say it's 1, 2, 3, Serpent Mound, Ohio. Serpent Mound, Ohio. Giants. Okay, we can be this. Serpent Mound, Ohio, giants. If you live in Ohio, surely you have history about the giants that are there. Why'd you have a Serpent Mound there? Mystery and giants at the Serpent Mound of Ohio, lying out in rural Adams County, Ohio, in the United States, upon a plateau overlooking Brush Creek, is a curious mound of earth jutting out of the land, winding about in the unmistakable image of a snake for a full 1,348 feet, averaging 3.9 to 4.9 feet in height. And it comes complete with an open mouth head and a coiled tail, and its nickname is Serpent Mound. Look at that. Ohio History Connection. Built by the ancient American Indian cultures of Ohio. It is an effigy mound, shape of an animal, representing a snake with a curled tail. Nearby are 3 burial mounds, 2 created by the Adena culture, 800 BC and AD 100, and 1 by the Fort Ancient something you all. So there you have it, the Adena culture, where the men were like 7 to 8 feet tall, and the women were, the average height was 5'2", in the Adena culture. Did we put this in here? 256V, 1 in Q. Okay, I did it. I put it in there, 1 in Q, via web. So we did the Adena culture. We wanted to look at the connection to the Pleiades, you all. I hope this is okay. Bones were confiscated. That's right, emptied out into the Atlantic. Melissa, that's exactly right. I heard that and I thought, oh my gosh, there is history that has been hidden. Well, what was this got to do with the Pleiades? Pleiades is spoken of in the book of Job too. It's a biblical account of the Pleiades where it is spoken about. So several mounds in Charleston works featured these cup-marked stones along the Elk River north of Charlestown. Where's the stones? I can barely. Okay, there it is. A triangular shaped stone. I guess they're trying to map out the Pleiades in the sky or something. Does that look like the Pleiades to you all? Right here, in Ohio. If you study the sky, is that what the Pleiades look like? Oh my goodness. Okay, the 7 sisters. Okay, do we got 7? 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay, yeah, hello there. So let's see, what is this connection with these race of beings? Several mounds. A conical mound, 50 feet broad and 5 feet high. Flat rocks mainly bearing 1 or more circular holes. Rude stone slab coffin, Charleston, burned red cinders, mortar, cup-shaped depression, Bureau of Ethnology report. Several rediscoveries were made. Rediscoveries. They rediscovered it, you all, in St. Alban. Adena features including a graded way that was fully 20 feet wide, rounded in the middle, essentially sustained by or propped up with flat stones, small pits, a triangular stone. I wanted to see where they're talking about the Adena culture, found near the Coal River. Look, elsewhere in West Virginia, cup-marked stones were found piled on top of timber burial chambers in the Grave Creek Mound. Single-pitted megalith was found on a hilltop near the Natrium Mound. Several pitted stones were reported as surface finds at the Half Moon Mounds. The presence of cup-marked stones are also little-known feature of late Neolithic, early Bronze Age burial mounds in Atlantic Europe. They describe a bone marrow from a York shower. A remarkable feature in this burial was the very large number of stones with a pit or cup markings had been formed. The hollows were both circular and oval from different size, 1 to 2 or 3 in depth. I'm trying to get to where it's saying about Of course, we know the Adena Mounds, but what about, oh, well, Adena people and prehistoric colonization of North America. Pre-Columbian European contact. Predated all of it, you all. Foundations of stone, megalithic aspect of late archaic and woodland cultures. So it's quite evident that there were giants. Giants all over the place, you all. And this is what they look like. The men had great big gigantic heads. They did, elongated heads. Isn't that remarkable right there? Their heads are this big. But the rest of their face looks normal. It does. There are men who have, you know, jawbones like that, but they don't have very many people with heads like this. Now, I have seen some people in government and their heads are that big. They are. And sometimes you could see them speaking. They're given a platform to speak, and you're thinking, you know, your head looks really tall. Have you seen some like that, you all? Yeah. And I thought, are you from a race of beings from long ago? Yeah. So we looked at that, and this all came about because I wanted to know about the Great Continental Divide, and that's how I came up on these. And look at this, the Gopi type symbolism of the serpent and the fox. So archaeological 12,000 years ago in Turkey. So they have a lot of history in Turkey too, about all of this kind of stuff. The Sumer Triangle at Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. So yeah, you all. So let me put it back to me, you all. This was really exciting. It was exciting to look at all of this stuff with the giants of old, because they were very, very tall. Right here you can see prehistoric builders in. So if that was in Doddridge, what does this say? This is right here. I want to see what this says. Doddridge County, West Virginia, and we have military bases in these. I wonder if these military bases are in specific areas of West Virginia. Just for the heck of it, you all, a military base in West Virginia. Well, I don't know where they're at. Army bases in Virginia. That's Virginia. I don't know. Just trying to see if there was like certain bases that were around that area with all of that going on. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter that much at all. What matters is we got giants that were 7.5 feet tall, and the men had big cone heads, and it could have been from a race of, they said it was genetic. They didn't stretch their heads to look like that. And then you have some tribes in, you know, Africa and other places where they put the bands around their head and make their cranium go like that, and or their necks, make their necks really tall. But this right here, they didn't do nothing, it seems like. And their remains were hidden. Their skeletal remains were hush-hush for a long, long, long time until scientists from not too long ago checked back into them. And you know, it's like when they were here, the you know, indigenous people, the Native Americans, it's like they went on a conquest. The Europeans came over and they kept conquering all these tribes. What if they were the coneheads and stuff? What if it was like Nephilim like beings or something like that? What if they were? I don't know. This is the first time I heard about these right here and saw how tall they were. It certainly is something worth looking into more. Y'all, let me get on here before I forget. I want to get on here before I forget, and I want to put all these references in here that I have written down, or copied down, of every single place we went to, because this is really neat to reinvestigate when you want to, if you got the time or you want to look further into them, because one link can lead to another. Boom, there we got it right there. Cone heads. That's right, Carol. And Shrek. See, why? I never did understand those cone heads. And I didn't watch Saturday Night Live, but I saw like a cone head on there. That's right. We went from 558. They dropped it down to 402. You all, this is really important. Anything new about the Georgia Guidestones? I haven't heard anything about them, you all. Nothing. That's what's strange. You was a little boy when Coneheads movie. There was a movie on the Coneheads. Dunce caps. Well, we don't want to get too much into caps, because you know what that means. Let me see what the Coneheads look like. Coneheads. Look. Oh my gosh. Look at this. They are a fictional family of extraterrestrials with bald, conical heads. You are... Oh my gosh. And they're not fictional. A fictional family of extraterrestrials. Oh my gosh. No, we got to find the picture of them, you all. We got to find the picture that she put of him, of the giants of Ode. They're not fictional. What on earth is this one? I don't know what this one is. That's not fictional, you all. That is not fictional. Oh my gosh. We've got that and this, and they said it was fictional. Wow. I can't believe they did that. Let me finally get this in here. I never understood that thing. Let me see what they look like. But their heads didn't look exactly like that, you all. They didn't. They made fun of them. Were they sinister, you all? I'm trying to find out where that one is at, you all. I don't know where it's at. Where's that guy at, you all? I need to take a picture of his head. See, their heads weren't like that, but they were like that. Parental units. Yeah, not quite that pointed. There, I took a picture of it. So it's not fictional. Extraterrestrials. Wow. Rotten Tomatoes. Okay, well, we had elongated skulls here in North America. We did. This has really been something. I was kind of tired. But then I thought, well, this sounds really interesting. Now I'm wide awake, you all. This was really, really informative. I hope you found it informative, too, and learned a little bit more about the history of the United States. And I would venture to say that surely they had some elongated skulls across other parts of the world also. And giants. They were all... Giants roamed the land. Did they not? They came from outer space. Holly Ingle, you did. It is interesting. It's interesting. all throughout there, and I thought it's just right here. No, it's all in here. Very interesting. The urban legends about her in Egypt are insane. They're not stupid. These don't look like they're stupid at all. These these beings with elongated skulls. They don't. They looked very intelligent. They did. Right here, you can see it. The North American giant is what it was. I am going to go, you all. The Alien movie and elongated heads. The long skulls are all over the world. Okay, the crystal skulls. What about the crystal skulls? Did they have elongated heads? The crystal skulls, were they elongated? I know the Skeksis. I think the Skeksis had big long heads or something. John Martin, you are on it. Oh, they didn't have a long head? Oh, elongated skulls? Okay. Yeah. Boom. So yeah, you all, this is really interesting. Yes, the crystal skulls. Let's check out the crystal skulls. Crystal skulls. Well, they weren't too elongated. Okay, no, well, no, they kind of looked normal. The crystal skull movie, ancient. Okay, no, I can't see them. The mystery of the crystal skulls. They don't look too ancient. Okay, so that really wasn't one of them. That's all right, you are. One of the crystal skulls that looks exact. Oh, wow. Petrified giants of old. So yeah, that's really interesting, you all. It is. I am going to go. I am. So thank you all so much. This has been a really fascinating. It's been real fascinating. I'm going to make sure I've got everything in here, over here on this channel. Okay, we do. I want you all to make sure we got to make sure we got the references here. All of the references all look good. Okay, we got it. We got it going, you all. We do. I'm going to go. Thank you all so much. Susan, honey, thank you for being on here. Y'all been wonderful tonight. You have. Thank you so much for being on here. Yeah. Make these to sound like Neanderthals, and they're not. That's right. That's right. The Egyptian pharaoh, Akhenaten, whatever, had an elongated skull. Yeah, King Tut had an elongated skull. Jacob Rothschild has an elongated skull. Good night, everyone. Smoke 1G, let's row. That's right, you all. It's really interesting. So thank you all so much for coming on here. It's really interesting. It is. With that being said, you all, thank you again. It was so exciting. It was. And so I'm going to end it. So with that being said, hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello. From my heart to yours, love you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you so much. It was really exciting. It was. Makes me smile when we learn new things. And got documentation to back it up from scientists and stuff. That's great. Love you. Thank you, Susan. Good night, everyone.